CATV is proudly presented by Toyota.
Michael, congratulations. As the day counted down, was Adelaide starting to sort of form in your mind? I think you always have.
It was a long day, that's for sure. I don't think we thought too much. Well, I don't think I thought too much about Adelaide, but I was certainly thinking about. I was questioning: did I bat for too long? How many more overs could have our bowlers possibly bowled? We would have ended up bowling, I think, 139 overs if the game went full length. So, yeah, look, you always obviously question everything. You're there to win the game. That's our number one goal. And, obviously I would have been extremely disappointed if we couldn't get over the line. But in saying that, I think, firstly, South Africa deserve a lot of credit, I think, for the way they fought. I think as a batting unit, we can certainly learn a lot from that performance from South Africa, the way they found a way to hang in there and put value on their wicket. And then again, credit to our bowlers. Ryan Harris at the start of the day was struggling to walk, let alone bowl. And for him to be able to keep running in and do a job for us. Mitchell Johnson, 35 overs, I think he bowled in the second innings. And James Pattinson getting his first opportunity and just kept running in and trying his best. So I think our attack deserves a lot of credit. But yeah, no doubt you always think of you're always thinking of how you can win the game. And if we hadn't got over the line, I certainly would have questioned if I batted for too long.
Did the way the game finished make it more special, considering Rhino's circumstances in having put off knee surgery for 3 months and being the type that waited so long to get a chance at Test cricket?
I think no matter how we won today, it was going to be special. We're playing against the number one team in their own backyard. That's an exceptional effort and something that I know this team certainly doesn't take lightly. South Africa are a fantastic team and have been for a long time. I know I congratulated Graham after the game, but I think he deserves. I think he's going to get a lot of credit and a lot of recognition, but I think he deserves a lot more. Whatever he gets, I think he deserves a lot more. I think he's been a fantastic leader. I think he's been a fantastic player, a great player, one of the greats of the game. I think the game's a sadder place for seeing him retire. He's only 33 years of age, and in my opinion, I certainly think he could have played for a lot longer if he wanted to. South Africa are going to miss him, and for me personally, I've been fortunate to play a lot of cricket against him, and I had the utmost respect for him as a player and a captain, and I think I've learned a lot from him as an opposition player and an opposition captain. So, and I think you see the fight that South Africa showed today. I think that's credit to Graham Smith.
Michael, is that the biggest achievement of your captaincy so far, and was I suppose the tenseness that we saw out on the field an indicator of how high the stakes were?
I don't think it's fair to compare to the Ashes series that we just played, but I think it's an honest assumption would be that it's as good. Is it better? Is it not better? I don't know. I think any time you beat the number one team in the world, that's extremely special. And I don't think it's fair to compare it to the other success we've had as a team. South Africa has always been one of the hardest teams that I've played against through my career. They've always had a fantastic attack. They've always had a good mix of youth and experience through their batting. And they've always been led exceptionally well in Graham Smith since I've played for Australia. So it's always a challenge. And yeah, for us to get over the line it's very special for this Australian team. It certainly shows and represents that we're heading in the right direction as a team. It's our first bit of success away from home for a couple of years. I can't thank my teammates enough for their heart, their attitude, and the hunger. I think Davey sits here as a great example. We spoke back in Australia and throughout this series, the two things that I've spoken to this team about is having the right attitude and having that hunger inside you to want more, to want to become a better player every single day. But when you're in form, to want that to continue to go. And when you get 100, make it a big 100. And I think Davey's a great example of somebody who has batted beautifully over the last 12 months. But he hasn't taken it for granted. He's continued to work hard in the nets. He's continued every time he's walked out to bat to start his innings as he is on zero. And then when he's got in, he's gone on and made some big scores. And he's batting as good as anybody in the world at the moment.
Michael, considering that you had South Africa at
15 for 3 at T yesterday. What went through your mind before you gave Harris the ball with 5 overs left, still 2 wickets to get? What were you thinking?
I'm not sure I can put that in words. I was thinking a lot of things. It had been a long day at that stage. Again, I think South Africa deserves so much credit for the way they fought, and that's what I say. I think us as a team, a batting unit, we should learn from what we've seen today. You know, the number one team in the world have fought their absolute backside off to not give us the game, and we've had to fight even harder to win the game. So, you know, we will learn from that. I thought today was going to be a long day. There's no doubt about it. When we got here this morning, with the way the wicket was, we knew we had a second new ball, but we also knew we were bowling against some very good players with some tired legs. Like I say, Ryan Harris, a couple of days ago, he wasn't going to be able to bowl in the second innings. So credit to Alex Contouris, our physio. He's unbelievable. He never gets enough credit for what he does to get blokes on the park. If it wasn't for him, I certainly wouldn't have been able to walk out and bat on that second day. Our doctor as well has played a huge role in getting the guys on the park. So I'm extremely thankful for all of our support staff's effort and work. And I think this result might please everybody.
Got a bit frayed out there with an hour to go, Michael. We make assumptions about what was going on. Can you...
What are your assumptions first? No, I'm only kidding. I don't want to know, actually. I don't want to know. You definitely had two extremely passionate teams that wanted to win this test match. There was obviously a lot of words throughout the game. Let's call it banter. You know what? Honestly, if anybody was out of line, it was me. And I apologised to the opposition player that I thought I was out of line to. A player that I have the utmost respect for, who tries to kill me every time I bat, who batted exceptionally well, and I was out of line. If any player on either team, it was me that was out of line.
And is it the team's pushing the line now with throwing the ball in on the pitch? Where the umpires were up here about that at one point in the game.
Umpires were up me about a few things, but that was one of them. I've always believed if you're in the ring, you should be throwing the ball on the full because it's a 20-metre throw. If guys are on the boundary, you can accept some guys can't throw it that far. So, yeah, look, whatever criticism we cop for that, I'm more than happy to cop. But I think our players understand, like I say, there's a line and we know not to overstep that. I think we were asked by the umpires to make sure we're throwing the ball in the full, and I think we accepted that and listened to that.
Rob, you generally kept quite a cool head out there. Is it just the nature of the occasion with that incident fail at the end?
Yeah, I think it was more let's just say it got me at a bad time. We just had a decision that didn't go our way that I would have liked to have seen go our way, but that's the game. And certainly as captain of your country, you've got to be able to cop that on the chin. And then something was said to one of my teammates, and I seem to make this mistake a few times, but I jumped in and looked after him. But like I say, it doesn't matter what happened. At the end of the day, what I said was something out of character, and I apologise for that. I shouldn't have said what I said.
Was the plan always to throw the ball to Ryan with his body being the way it was for one last time? Or?
There was two choices, either Ryan Harris or myself, and I know which way I was always going to go. I didn't know if Rhino had anything left in the tank, but I think him and Mitchell Johnson have been our two best bowlers over the past 12 months, even longer. But you know, I thought if we're going to get over the line, these two guys are the blokes to get us over the line.
Jesse, Michael, have your thoughts on what constitutes conclusive evidence from a video on play change from what happened to Steve Smith and PE and what happened to Vernon?
I'm not even going there. Like I say, whatever I say here, if I'm not careful with what I say here, I'll get into trouble. So at the end of the day, I think we've played a fantastic test match. We've beat the number one team in the world in their own backyard. I think we've entertained the people that have watched come out to the ground, but also people watching back at home. I think South Africa deserve a lot of credit for the way they've played throughout this series and the way they were led in Graham Smith. And I don't think it would be right for me to whinge or complain about that decision, win, lose or draw. I think I will always have my feelings about that decision, but over 5 days, I think we've seen some fantastic Test cricket in this Test match and throughout the series, and I think we really should be talking about that rather than one decision.
How hard is it for David to bat the way he bats, but have consistency the way he's had in this series?
I don't think I've met a player with more confidence, and please take that the right way. It takes a lot of courage when you're not batting as well as you would like to walk out and play the way Davey plays. I think a lot of people can play that way when they're coming off 100 or they're full of confidence. The one thing I love most about Davey is whether he makes a duck or 100, he sticks to his guns. He knows the way he plays his best and he backs himself 100%. And, that takes a lot of courage. So he just scored, I don't even know how many runs he scored this series, but a truckload against an amazing attack, the number 1 Test team in the world, in their own backyard. You don't see too many players anywhere around the world play like that. So if you're ever going to compliment him, today's your day. He's earned it.
Thanks, mate.
We'll go over to Davey. If there's anyone got questions
Cheers,
for
mate.
Davey, one question only, please. Antoinette, did you have a question? No, sorry, next, Rob. Thanks.
You mentioned yesterday that you enjoyed when the banter out there. How did you find settings today?
Yeah, I liked it when the skipper put me in close.
It wasn't for that reason, though.
I wanted to give the people at home some entertainment while they're blocking it, but no, obviously, as Michael said, credit to South Africa, the way they hung in there. We could have done the same thing in PE, but we got across the line today, and I think the boys, we all played fantastic cricket. We all did our part, and as Michael said before, for Ryan to bowl that last little effort there, it was fantastic to see him on one leg, and just to see the guys, in excitement and running around, and I know tonight's going to be very special for all of us. With our, it's been a long time since we've won away from home, and I know it's my first, but I think we're going to enjoy this, and hopefully we can win many more away.
David, as a batting team, you guys got on top of the South Africans, a good bowling attack, a couple of times this series. How much do you think your aggression at the top of the innings sort of allows the team to sort of bat to get that sort of domination?
Yeah, I think it's just, obviously it's the way I play is to try and, I try and show intent, I try and attack before I defend, and that's the way I've always played my cricket. And I think the way that I play my role, it gives, someone like Chris Rogers or the next person that comes in an opportunity as well to play like that sometimes as well, because they might get the half volleys, and putting pressure on the bowler makes them, think about where they got to bowl as well. So if I'm putting pressure on the bowlers up the other end and it is working, it probably makes life easy for the other guy up the other end as well. But at the same time, I could take pressure off the batter up the other end as well. So I enjoy that role.
Dan, one question, please.
Yep, Dave, Morne Morkel, the battle that you had with him in this series, and Michael knows full well how scary he can be. What's your attitude when you're facing him in terms of how to, I suppose, win that battle?
It's tough for me because I'm a left-hand batter, so
It's tough for me as well. I'm right-handed.
I don't know why he comes over the wicket to me. Every other left-hander in the world, he's been bowling around the wicket. So I think he feels that he can try and nick me off, which, he had a couple of chances in that first test. But I've always had the mentality to go out there, and anyone that's bowling 150 kilometres an hour at you, I'm swinging hard. And that's how I've always played my cricket, and I'll keep continuing to do that because I'm going to get him before he gets me. That's my mentality. So, but it is easy to say that, but, I love playing my cricket that way. And, I felt for this one here at the other end, watching him getting peppered off. It's hard up the other end not being able to do anything. And, the courage that Michael showed, I think he deserves a lot of credit for the way he played. The innings he played was one of the best innings I've probably seen him play in his career to date, besides the 300 and a couple of doubles that he scored. But that was really tough, and that's his second time he's played a magnificent innings here at Newlands. We saw the last time we played here as well. So credit to him. I wish I would have done more, but he had to cop it.
You did well, buddy.
Last two questions, Antoinette.
Michael, just on Ryan, you've touched on him and how crazy he's been. Mitchell Johnson called him a freak the other day. Can you just talk a bit more about his spectacular?
I can go all night about Rhino. He is one of a kind. I think he complements our attack very well. We're very fortunate to have the bowlers we have, and I never really like to talk about one player. You know, I think Mitchell has had an amazing series once again. James Pattinson coming into his first game and bowling extremely well. Sids has done a great job over a long period of time for us. Shane Watson, Nathan Lyon outstanding throughout the whole series. Watto this game and Lino again. But Ryan is one of a kind. He will run through a brick wall for me and for this team. And there's no greater example of what you've seen today. He seems to, once he gets onto the field, the pain is gone. You know, I don't know what he's done to himself. I don't know how bad it is. You know, he just seems to find a way to, if I ask him to bowl, he'll find a way to bowl. He's got no energy left. His body's killing him. He'll just find a way to take a wicket for us. And as captain, I don't think you can ask for much more. And that's where I'm extremely fortunate with this team. No matter what the results are going forward, you know, Test cricket is extremely hard. We're going to lose a lot of games. Let's hope we're going to win a lot of games as well. But I've got players in this team that will jump off a bridge for me. I feel that way. And the guy sitting beside me is a great example of that. If I ask him to play a certain way, he will sacrifice his own performance for this team. Ryan Harris is exactly the same.
Last question.
Michael, do you think a guy like Faf du Plessis has earned your respect and respect of Australia for the way he comes out in the fourth innings? And do you see him as a future South African captain possibly?
Oh, I'm not going there with the captaincy stuff. I think no doubt he's earned opposition players' respect. I think the way he plays, I think he puts a lot of value on his wicket. I think his statistics show that over. It's obviously the start of his Test career, but I think his performances have showed that. He was extremely hard to get out today, as he was in Adelaide. There's a lot of very good South African players in that team. A number of them, in my opinion, and I don't know them as a captain I haven't played with them, but a number of them, in my mind, could captain South Africa. But I guarantee you South African cricket will miss Graham Smith. I think he's once-in-a-lifetime player. I think his leadership is phenomenal. Any player that leads from the front with the bat as an opening batsman has statistics like Graham, you can't replace that. He's what Ricky Ponting was to the Australian team. That's exactly how I see Graham Smith.